Hello, hello. So, for those that don't know me, I'm Claire. I'm a multi-business owner and founder of the Good Vibes Collective. I've been in network marketing and community and team building for 20 years, and a few areas of my expertise are shown on this screen here. So tonight we're going to be looking at something practical and very powerful at the same time, and it's goal setting that works. So we could be talking about New Year goals. We could be talking about the goals that you set on a Monday morning for the week. It could be the next month I'll be more organised goals that just never actually happen and never materialise. And I used to set some fantastic goals and they looked great on paper, but I'd either forget about them or I'd get overwhelmed and give up on them. I'd feel like a failure if I didn't achieve them. And it's not me that was the problem. It was the system that I was using, and it was my mindset that was the issue. So tonight's not about the mechanics of goal setting. That's a different session completely. This is actually about the psychology of goal setting and goal setting that works rather than the how to set goals. Lots of us know about the mechanics of it, such as the SMART goals and making your goals smart. But how many of us actually achieve those goals, even if they are smart? And we're going to look at why that is. So goals aren't just a January thing. So it's not the fancy new year, new me, colour-coded goals with huge intentions. They're not just about achievement. Their goals are about direction. So think of your life like a car. So you could have an amazing engine in this car. You could have a petrol tank full to the brim. You could have all the time and energy in the world, but without a destination, you're either going to sit on your drive all day or worse, drive around in circles. So you need a direction to head in. And it doesn't mean a dramatic life shift or a huge business goal. Goals could be about drinking more water. It could be about going to bed 30 minutes earlier. It could be spending time with the kids without looking at your phone. It could be starting a new business that you've been thinking about for a long time. And whatever it is, having a goal tells your brain that it's something that matters to you. And without goals, we drift and we do the same routine all the time. We respond to life rather than creating it. And then that's when frustration creeps in. And goals keep us connected to our growth, our purpose, and our future. So I just want to dive into a little bit about why goal setting often fails and the 5 most common reasons that goals fail. We do start with the best intentions, and a couple of weeks down the line, we can lose motivation completely. And that's because we're setting goals without the right foundations. So the first thing that we're going to look at is the fact that the goal could be too vague. So it could be that you want to get fit, or I want to grow a business, or I want to be happier. These are all great ideas. But what do you actually mean by that? How do you measure fit or happy? And instead of a goal that says that you want to get fit, try something more specific. So 3 at-home workouts per week for 20 minutes a time. Or instead of grow a business, try setting some specific figures or targets. So that's the first one. Number 2 is that it's not your goal. So it's a goal potentially that we think we should want because we've seen somebody else do it, or we think that that's what success looks like. So I should lose weight, or I should save money. I should post more on social media. Deep down, these goals actually mean nothing to you because you're not emotionally connected to them. You're not fighting for it. You don't prioritize it because you don't care about that goal enough. You need to ask yourself when setting any goals, why do I actually want this? What would this actually do for me? And would I still want it if no one else saw me achieve it? And that's a really big one because it shows if you truly care about that goal for you or for other people seeing you achieve it. The third reason that goal setting often fails is to do with goals, plans, and actions. And this is where a lot of people get stuck, particularly with bigger goals, and it's a double-edged sword. So some people may think that you need a perfect plan mapped out before they get started. So you don't get started because you've not got a 47-step master plan and you think you're not ready for it. You don't need those 47 steps. You just need to know the next step to move towards your goal. And it's just that one step you need to know about before you get started. And the other extreme is going too hard and too fast. So an intense 7-day a week action plan. And by day 3, you're absolutely exhausted. You're wondering why you started. You've got total burnout and you give up in the early stages. Number 4, all or nothing. Now, this is particularly relevant to fellow perfectionists and overthinkers like me. So lots of goals, you'll kind of go, oh, I missed a day, so I failed. Or I had a chocolate bar. I may as well scrap it for the rest of the week. And I used to be like this with my health goals. I'd start the week really motivated. I'd have my water bottle ready. My fridge was full of vegetables and salad. I got my daily workouts all planned into my diary. And then life would happen. I'd have a stressful day, or I'd forget to prep dinner, and then I'd get a takeaway. And that little gremlin voice in your head says, that's it now. Ruined it, may as well start again on Monday. And goals aren't ruined by one bad day. They're only ruined when we decide to quit. So missing one workout doesn't cancel the 5 workouts that you did before. Eating one piece of cake doesn't get rid of all the healthy meals that you had in that week. Falling off track doesn't mean that you're back at 0 and back at the start. It means that you're human. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent most of the time. Results don't come from perfection. They come from not quitting. And the 5th reason why a lot of goal setting does fail is because we're doing it alone. And doing it alone can really ruin your progress completely. Trying to hit a goal completely alone is like deciding to hike up a mountain without a map, without any water, without any snacks, no one to meet you at the top. You might get there eventually, but it's going to be harder to get there, and it's going to be a lot easier to give up halfway as well. So often we think we have to do these things on our own to prove something, like asking for help is a weakness. Or if we tell somebody our goal and then we fail, we're going to be judged. So we keep it quiet, we keep it safe, we keep it small. But the truth is, keeping your goals a secret is like locking your dreams in a drawer. It could be that you are messaging a friend once a week with, this is what I'm working on this week. Or a partner or a friend who helps you track your wins, even tiny little wins. A post-it note that you've written for yourself as a reminder. Or a Facebook group or community where you can pop in and say, here's my progress today. It's accountability, but it's not pressure, it's support. So as in some of our previous episodes, you'll know that the brain is often working against you. It's doing what it's designed to do. It's keeping you safe and keeping you comfortable. But what we need to do is retrain the brain. You can teach the brain that growth is safe and that change is exciting and new isn't dangerous. The brain is wired to look for comfort. So even good changes can feel threatening to your brain because they're so unfamiliar. Starting a new morning routine can feel exhausting. Launching a business can feel terrifying. Not because you're broken or weak, but because your brain associates familiar with safe. New is unknown, and that's risky, and that's danger. So discomfort isn't a red flag. It's just a sign that you're entering into a growth territory. So let's talk a little bit about dopamine. So dopamine is a chemical reward. It's a feel-good or motivation molecule. And the dopamine trap is something that's very real. So your brain gets excited about the idea of a win. So when you're starting working on a goal or you're working out the steps for a goal, you start with enthusiasm because you've got excitement and you're anticipating that win or achieving the goal. That does fade though, and that's where we can lose motivation. So no matter the size of the win, ticking something off our list can give us a dopamine hit. And I'm going to cover that in more detail shortly and how to use this to our advantage. Then we've got our reticular activating system. This is basically the Google of your brain. Your brain's processing thousands of bits of information every single second. And your RAS decides what's worth noticing. So when we set a clear goal, the RAS says, oh, this matters to you, so I'm going to show you more of that. And it's like when we decide to buy a red car, suddenly all we'll see is red cars everywhere. And that's because that's what your brain's focused on. So this can work in your favor. Once you start getting specific about what you want, this is why writing down goals matters, why visualizing them works, and why saying them out loud makes them more likely to happen. Because you're literally programming your brain to find the people, the tools, and the opportunities that align with what you want. Another consideration is the negativity bias, and I've covered this in a previous episode. This is your brain's natural tendency to focus on what's wrong, what could go wrong, or what went wrong, instead of what's going well. In cave people times, it made sense to do this. Your brain was always scanning for danger. It was listening for rustling bushes. It was looking for a change in the weather, for angry tribe mates. Not noticing a positive thing wasn't dangerous, but missing something that was negative could potentially be fatal. Thousands of years later, our brains are still doing that. And that's why you might obsess over one negative comment instead of the 10 compliments. You might remember one time that you failed more vividly than all of your wins. You might tell yourself, I always mess things up after one bad day. Negativity bias makes you doubt yourself too quickly. It makes you quit when things aren't perfect. You ignore progress because you're focused on what's missing. I see it all the time. Someone's doing amazing, they're posting consistently, or they're getting better habits, they're learning new skills. They have one tough day and it makes them say, I'm rubbish at this, and give up. Your brain is trying to protect you, but sometimes that protection keeps you stuck. And the trick is to train your brain to look for the good on purpose. So we've talked a little bit about why goals matter and why they sometimes fall flat, and what your brain is secretly doing behind the scenes. And the theory is great, but it's the action that changes everything. So I'm going to go through some practical strategies that actually help goals stick and refer back to some of the things that we've already covered. So one of the biggest mistakes is thinking that goals have to be huge from day one. You want to run 5K every day, even though you haven't been for a walk in months. The truth is your brain doesn't need a big win. It just needs a little win for that dopamine hit. And every complete tiny task equals dopamine. So you get that little yay me moment. And instead of aiming for 100%, aim for something. So your goals can be embarrassingly small to start off with. That first dopamine hit will get you started and then keep you going. Small changes and small goals will prevent your brain from going into panic mode and resisting change. Write a book. If you want to write a book, you don't need to do anything massive. You can open a blank document and write one paragraph. You want to get fitter? Just put your trainers on. You want to declutter? Set a 5-minute timer and just tackle one drawer. You've got a list of leads to call. Just make that one phone call. Micro wins are the starting line for big progress. So an example is, as we go back to that running 5K every day, the Coach to 5K training system. Now, the end goal of that is to run for a full 30 minutes. Day one is running for 60 seconds. To me, that's a doable thing. If I was running for 30 minutes straight off, I'd be dead in a corner. I couldn't do it. So don't underestimate the power of small but consistent goals and actions. Another trap is that we write down a massive goal. So launch a business or be more confident. And then we just stare at it on the paper. Because what does it actually mean? Big goals need baby steps. I'm talking monthly steps, weekly steps, even 10-minute tasks. So let's say that the goal is to declutter the house, break it down. So your monthly focus on one big area. So it's the kitchen for this month. And then weekly, break the kitchen down into zones. So it could be the cupboards, the drawers, the fridge. And then daily. So micro tasks, clean out the junk drawer, throw away the expired herbs and spices, wipe one of the shelves down. Chunk it down until those little tasks are laughably doable. Now, this one is an absolute game changer. We are creatures of habit, and the more automatic we make goals, the less motivation we need to keep going. So we try habit stacking. And habit stacking is when you attach a goal or a task that's going to get you closer to that goal to something that you already do. So, for example, some of mine are, when I make my morning coffee, I will check my to-do list for the day and check that it aligns with my goals. When I get into bed at night, I instantly take my evening vitamins and supplements. After lunch, I always read a few pages of my personal development books. You've already got habits. Pair those habits with a new one that's going to take you closer to your goal, and it makes it easier to consistently follow. Your brain loves patterns, so use it to your advantage. And this is something that I wish I'd known sooner: regular reviews. So every Sunday now, I sit down with a cuppa and I ask myself, what has worked for me this week? What didn't work for me? What's one small thing I can change or do differently next week? That check-in stops me from drifting away from my goals. Sometimes a week does go by, let's be honest, and you think, what did I actually achieve this week? But these little resets help to course correct, and it helps you to do that early on before things go completely off the rails. And it's not about shaming yourself, it's about realigning yourself. And I also use this opportunity on a Sunday as well to plan my week ahead, meaning that when I get up on Monday morning, I'm ready and raring to go for the week. And create accountability without pressure. So you don't need a full-on accountability group that you've all got matching notebooks and you have a Zoom call every week and you update everybody on every single little thing that you've done, unless that's your thing. And if it is, then go for it. But you do need some form of support. And that could be, as I said earlier, texting a friend once a week with a progress update. It could be a tracker on your fridge that the people that you live with can see. It could be saying your goals out loud to somebody, because when you speak that goal out loud, it gives it weight. Another little tip as well is, if you want a low pressure way to stay on track, set a reminder in your phone every Sunday evening that goes off and says, hey you, how's the goal going? You're checking in with yourself then, and future you will appreciate that check-in. And an example of this for me is one of the ladies that I speak to on a regular basis. And with the website launch that I launched a couple of weeks ago, last week, along with the ebook, it's something that I've been planning for a long time. And I spoke to her a couple of weeks ago and she said, well, just get on with it, just do it. And then she kept checking in with me to see how I was getting on with it. And I got it done and I got it launched. If it hadn't have been for her, it would have still been on my list and I wouldn't have quite got to it. So that accountability buddy really does make a difference. And then something that might be a little bit unexpected in terms of goal setting, but it is really one of the biggest game changers when it comes to smashing those goals. It's your identity. So most of us think about goals as things or results, but the real secret is that goals aren't just about achieving an outcome. They are about becoming the kind of person who achieves that outcome. So a personal example, I always used to complain that I never had enough time, but I'd waste hours on distractions, because deep down I was telling myself that I'm always busy and I'm always overwhelmed. When I changed it to I'm somebody who makes time for the things that matter, I started protecting my time and my schedule and saying no more often. Time became a tool for me and not an enemy. So this identity shift is huge. Brains love consistency. If you start acting like the person who achieves your goal, your brain rewards you with motivation and confidence. And it's like you're not chasing an external prize anymore. You're just being you. So think about it this way. So instead of I want to run a marathon, say I am a runner. Instead of I want to save money, say I am a saver. Instead of I want to write a book, I am a writer. When you identify your goals and your goals align, the path becomes clearer. You don't rely on your willpower or motivation because your actions become part of who you are. And even small things count. So the truth is, lasting change doesn't come from what you do every now and then. It comes from who you are every single day. So when thinking about this, use present tense. So speak to yourself like you're already the person that you want to become. So instead of I will be organised, I am organised. Small, consistent choices. So you want to be a runner, put your trainers on and walk around the block. Want to be a writer, write one sentence. These little tiny habits build up and start to build your new identity over time. Celebrate who you are wins and not just what you did wins. So celebrate the moments where you acted like your future self. Did you resist temptation that you wouldn't have done before? Did you show up even though you didn't feel like it? Give yourself credit for those things because that builds confidence and momentum. And be patient and kind to yourself as well. Identity shifts don't happen overnight, and that's fine. You'll have slip-ups, you'll have days when you feel like your old self, and that will start creeping back in. But instead of beating yourself up, remind yourself that growth is messy and just keep showing up. Now, usually we have key takeaways from each session, but this time we have a good vibes goal setting framework, which is a little bit different. So we've got get clear on the outcome. So not just more money, but what will that money give you? Will it give you freedom, security, a trip out with the kids? Paint a picture. Own your why. So dig deeper than the reasons. And so you can set a goal to be healthier, but when you actually think about it, it could be because you don't like the way you look in pictures, or you don't feel confident in photos and you're hiding behind people all the time. And when you own the deeper reason, it can really hit differently and motivate you in a different way. Organise the actions. So big goals need baby steps. I break mine down monthly, weekly, and even into daily, and then 10-minute tasks too. Ditch the distractions. So what are you saying yes to that's pulling you away from your goals? For me, it used to be watching reality TV after dinner instead of working on things, but I still watch it, but I don't do it for quite as long. I've ditched a lot of those distractions. Then we've got visual tools. So trackers, vision boards, post-it notes, any progress that you can track and you can see daily, do it, because seeing that progress will motivate you even more. Include support. So you're not meant to do it alone. Having accountability or a group chat or telling a friend your goal can actually double your chance of success. Build rituals. So replace motivation with routine. It doesn't need to be fancy. It just needs to be something that is repeatable. So go back to that habit stacking and build those routines and rituals. Evaluate and adjust. So every Sunday, as I've said, I ask myself what worked and what didn't this week. What's my next step? So goals aren't static, they evolve. And if you're asking yourself this on a regular basis, you can evolve the tasks that you need to be completing. So, and remember, it's always progress over perfection. And finally, success and celebration. So joy fuels your progress. Celebrate every win, even the tiny ones. Treat yourself, do a happy dance, share your wins with a friend. Those positive vibes make it easier to keep going and remind your brain that the journey is worth it. So your challenge this week is to choose one area that you want to improve. Write down one ridiculously easy action step and tell one person about it by the end of the day tomorrow. And remember, your goals aren't just destinations, they're the journey of becoming who you're meant to be. Start small, start steady, and watch yourself grow. Next week, we are going to dive into personal branding, and how to show up authentically and confidently in every part of your life, whether it's work, relationships, or passions. And we're going to look at some practical tips to help you stand out and own your unique story. Any questions, as always, feel free to drop me an email. That is a new email address, but the other one, if you've got that, is still active as well. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and drop me a like and comment on there. And if you haven't already, head over to my brand new website and grab your free ebook, Mastering Your Mindset and Unlocking Your Confidence. You've also got my Facebook profile and Facebook page on there too. And finally, thank you for joining me. I hope it's been useful. Any questions, feel free to get in touch. Bye for now. Bye-bye.